Alrighty, I think we're about set. The webcam there, and we're good to go. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. It is me, the Eagle Reviewer slash Reactor, and I'm pretty happy and excited because we're finishing off the year. Last couple of videos are coming out, so I'm really excited to get started. And if this sounds fun to you, then please consider subscribing to the channel and liking this video. As we're just discussing a lot of different movies and shows and things going on in the world. So we're just calming down, relaxing, and since it's winter time, season's upon us, Christmas, the holidays, it's all here now. It's the perfect time for me to sort of relax again and be ready to upload some videos. So let's get started, you guys. All right, where to begin? So last video was the movie Red One, and then this is Kraven the Hunter. I might also make a video about Gladiator 2. I know that's been out for a while, but if I do end up watching it, then there may be a video about it. But we'll see. But otherwise, Sonic 3 is confirmed to come out soon. So that's basically what we're looking at. Anyways, jumping right into this movie, Kraven the Hunter, let's start from there. So it's another movie part of the Sony Spider-Man franchise. Of course, with the Venom movies, 1 through 3, Madam Web, Morbius, all that sort of stuff. So within that world, and this movie was set to come out a while back, I think. As a matter of fact, I think it was 1 year ago from today when the early trailers were out. When I was first discussing this movie with my friends in school, and I remember I thought originally this movie was going to be bad. I don't know much of what it was going to be about. All I knew it was that instead of him being an animal hunter, he was helping animals instead. So that kind of made me like confused, like what are we doing here? But once the newer trailers came out, I'm like, all right, might as well give this a shot. And then it all changed as we neared the release date. Once all the delays settled in, I was like, all right, what do we have here? And then the early reviews came out on Rotten Tomatoes. The critic score came out, and I was confused. I was like, huh. I was surprised because it was worse than Venom 3's. So I was like, is it really that bad? Because, the director, I think, of the movie basically came out and said, please give this movie a chance. It's not as good as the other ones, which are much worse. So check us out, please. If this movie does well and make money, then maybe we can make more of this sort of stuff. And maybe set up a Sinister Six world. I mean, you have the Vulture, you have Scorpion, you have Morbius, Venom, Madam Web, and now Kraven. I don't think I repeat any of the characters, but I don't even know if that would be a Sinister Six world or just 6 characters they've introduced. I don't know. But with very little to none connectivity and a bunch of stupidity going on, let's see what we have to deal with here. So Kraven the Hunter is part of this universe, and overall, it's not too bad of a film, actually. And then if you look into the sort of, reviews from the audience, it's actually not too bad from their point of view. I believe it was around 4-ish on Google, and I believe it was 70% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. So then I watched it. My friend had already seen it before me, so he said, you should check it out as well. So I did. And I think I sort of agree with what people are saying. Some of the dialogue at times was weird. Rhino could have looked better. There was holding on with the foreigner. Just a lot of these things going on that sort of detracted from the movie. And these weird elements with the way dialogue was being said and how some cool ideas definitely were there, but should have explored more and better invested in rather than these scenes we got which just felt weird and loose and kind of like slogging at certain times, just dragging out the runtime a bit. And then a cool action scene maybe came later to make the movie seem enjoyable and continue the plot line and story from there. So it was sort of a mess of what could have been a really great film. I believe it could have been a good film. Like, trust me. There were definitely some cool ideas, there were some cool moments, but it just could have been executed way better. And that definitely would have elevated this film to maybe how the director thought, how good they thought this film actually was. Because in my opinion, some of the action scenes were actually better than Venom 3's, yet it got a lower critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. I guess my only assumption is people thought, this universe is ending, it's dying, what's even the point anymore? So they lowered their expectations too much. At the point they were like, we don't care. So maybe there was some biasness to it, but overall, I actually thought it was a pretty decent watch, and I can see why people thought it was kind of okay, you know. So definitely better than Morbius and Madam Web, just not the best, you know. It could have been way better, like like some of the Venom movies were, you know. So definitely, definitely could have been explored more and had so much potential to it. Obviously, Aaron Taylor Johnson carried this movie. I think most of the scenes he were in, I actually enjoyed. I think they were choreographed pretty well. I was like, huh, these scenes aren't too bad actually, you know. And then there was a whole thing people wanted to see the fight between Kraven and Rhino. There was some stuff going on there, but overall, I was like, huh, I get the both sides to it, but overall, it's not a bad watch, you know. And I'll get to my rating at the end, so stick around for that. But I kind of had fun with it. I enjoyed it for what it was, you know. Like I obviously had low expectations considering it was a Sony film, and that fact that the first 8 minutes of the film were already released before the movie came out, so I watched that. And so, you know, those were definitely some pretty good 8 minutes actually, considering it's from Sony. Um, the quality kind of dipped from there, but it was it was okay, I guess. It's just weird how they chose to tell the story. It could have been told in a better fashion, but it was like it wasn't as bad as the people were saying, you know? I think the critics kind of were over their head with this thing. Like I don't know what they expected, you know, from this thing. The ratings just didn't seem consistent between this and their past ones. But yeah, I think that's basically it. I mean, overall, it's just Kraven, you know, he has this mission. He's not an animal, you know, killer, really. He's more of a good guy, you know, which I can see why people don't like it. Maybe some comic accurate. It's not maybe really an anti hero or villain. He appears way more heroic in his origin film. I guess they wanted to sort of present it as that. I think he's the most heroic compared to Venom and Vulture and Morbius and all the other characters. So he was definitely like pretty much a good guy, you know? Like, sure, he kills people, but they're going for like, sort of like this John Wick type of vibe, which my friend agreed with, you know, while we were watching the trailers. So, yeah, I mean, there was that going on to it, you know, but overall, it was a pretty fun watch. Like, okay, we saw it. Um, Not high expectations from it. Life moved on. It always will. But like it's sort of like, is it worth supporting this film? Maybe. If we get Spider-Man, that's what we really want, you know? Considering the fact that they could have used Spider-Man in any of their films thus far, but they chose not to because the first Venom movie made so much money, and that's when they thought, hey, we can continue this universe and not have Spider-Man in it. Why? I don't know. Now, of course, the only reason why Sony makes these movies in the first place is because they need to hold on to the rights of the Spider-Man IP character. That's why they want to release his films. But I feel like it could have been spread out more, done better. I don't know what Avi Arad was thinking. You know, a lot of people don't like the ideas he's been making. You know, and I believe Sony wanted to do things right and differently, but then some executives and people within Sony wanted to push things out and be done in a certain way. You know, considering the fact that every basically project is led by different people, right? You have different people working on the Miles Morales movies. You have different people working on this universe of movies. You know, the Venom movies. So it's different people, you know. But then their executives are like, "Hey, we have this idea," and sometimes it's just not the best thing to happen. And like, look at where we are now, you know. Um, this movie is sort of like with the DCEU, right? What happened with Shazam 2 and Blue Beetle. No one really went to see it considering the fact that the DCU was ending. So same with this one. I feel like when I went to see it in the theaters, there weren't that many people there, because people knew that this universe is ending. This Spider-Man universe by Sony is ending. So what's the point of really seeing this considering the fact that we just haven't gotten a really good project in a while? you know. So I get that point of view, but like some of the scenes, the way they filmed it, were actually pretty good. Like I was like, huh, okay, all right. Overall, it's just like a movie which just could have been better and done right, but it's watchable and it had the beat to it. I just wish there were more people in the theater. That would have made it a better viewing experience for me. But yeah. So maybe in comparison to Venom 3, I guess it would be a little bit better. I guess. But yeah, I know I'm going kind of all over this place with the review, but yeah. I mean, the plot's pretty straightforward. It's kind of a short movie, actually. It's around 2-ish hours, so not too long. But yeah, I didn't like the ending of the film that much, but I guess why? I mean, it was an origin story, so they didn't tap in too much of it. But after the whole 1 year later thing, it felt like they were trying to set up a lot afterwards, so I can sort of see that. But I'm like, what's gonna happen next? And that's what I want to discuss now. But before I do, let's get into my rating. This film is mid, it's enjoyable, there were some cool scenes to it, but again, things that could have been explored better and done more properly. So I guess that's just a 7 out of 10 film, right? Right then and there, right? Like, it did what it did something cool, had some pros to it, but the cons sort of drew everything good from it. It depleted it, from what could have been a great film overall. It could have been a 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10 film, were these other things going on that was like, huh? Yeah, why are we doing this, But again, some of the things were cool. Again, Aaron Taylor Johnson carried, and the action choreography scenes were amazing, but some of the things just could have been done a bit better. But that's what I'll say. So now, the rating aside, let's get into the effects of this movie, right? They set up a lot of stuff, right? With his brother, I think he's talking to like these drug dealers, I think, or working with some people in higher positions who are bad people, and you know, our main guy Kraven is getting kind of worried as to what's happening, saying that if his brother continues to be involved in the shady business, he will come after him. So, is his brother gonna become a bad guy? Like, what was Sony planning to do afterwards? Considering the fact that they were thinking of making a Kraven 2 film, like Kraven's Last Hunt, essentially, where he goes off and fights Spider-Man. The question is, why would he fight Spider-Man, or like how? Considering the fact that he's pretty much been like a good guy this whole time, right? Like, why does he feel the urge, the need to fight Spider-Man, and which one? Like, sorry, I was a little tired, but not from the film, but it's just been a long day. And I'm confused, like, which Spider-Man is he gonna go out and fight? Like, I'm not entirely sure about that, and how would it even work? Now, in Spider-Man 4, there's rumors that if they just choose to do that with Tom Holland, have Venom in it, then sure, they can do that route as well. But how would a Venom in a Spider-Man, or not Venom, sorry, Kraven in a Spider-Man movie even work in the first place? So I was like, a little bit confused about that. But I guess we'll see. If it does end up happening, obviously this film is probably going to be a huge failure on Sony's end. Again, considering the fact that when I went into the theaters, it was not as big as I thought. I think it was one of the lowest turnout rates I'd ever seen. Considering the fact that I guess people had already seen it who wanted to see it probably saw it like opening weekend. And, I think I just chose to see the film at a pretty odd timing. Maybe it was that essentially. But yeah. I think they're still giving on more screens to Moana 2 and Kraven, even though Moana 2 has come out way sooner than Kraven. And it's not like Kraven's a horrible film, it's just people just aren't giving the film a chance. So on that note, I'll definitely say give it a chance. I think I'd have to agree. If you hate it, fine, but don't listen to what the critics are saying. And I mean that to be true, okay? Like, the critics might persuade you, no. The audience persuade you, yes. But let you decide. And in that position, you watch it. Whether that be in the theaters, the best way to support the film while it's playing, help those box office numbers go up. Or if you could watch it on digital or streaming, maybe, you could watch it then if you want to wait. But at least if you're willing to give it a chance, I definitely say give it a shot. Because honestly, I think I enjoyed the film more than I thought I was going to. I already heard all the negatives about it, heard all the bad things about it, so pretty much lowered my expectations. But then the pros came to it, and then I'm like, okay, it's not the worst thing in the world. I get the cons, but it's still pretty watchable film, if that makes you feel any better. I don't know how I could get you more excited. I can't really say that this one did anything exciting or special, other than just being another film within this world and trying to set up things which other movies have done in the past. Will it be a successful movie? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know, but The potential was there, and I feel like Sony just maybe doesn't care as much as we want Sony to care, but maybe they don't. Sony. And Kraven. It is Kraven time, you guys, you know. I made many jokes and memes about this movie in the past, which no point really sharing now that the film's out, but yeah. What have we gotten ourselves into, eh? Good riddance, as they say, I guess. Or not. Who knows? Um, if this truly is the last time we are going to explore and visit this world. Um, no post credit scene or any connection to any other movie, I think. Because you know, every time they try to establish some sort of Spider-Man reference in the movie, they always end up removing it, which is insane. Maybe in the comics, Kraven does go up against Spider-Man or some of the other characters, but again, I'm just wondering how would that even work? It doesn't make sense, you know. I understand this movie was meant to be a truly tried to be a comic accurate Kraven the Hunter origin movie, but it didn't really feel like it was setting up anything huge beyond the world that it currently exists in. So, like, it makes sense, honestly, for Kraven to go up against his brother rather than Spider-Man. So, like, what's up with that? Why is Sony doing this? Like, have they gained some consciousness to them? Are they doing anything at all? Like, who knows what's up with that? But, like, the talks about this particular field was sort of like, huh, like, what's going on? What are we doing here, you know? But I guess we'll find out, you know? But I think that's about it. You know, like I said, a 7 out of 10 film. It's watchable. It's enjoyable. Had some things which could have elevated more, but I had a pretty fun time with it. Funish time, I guess. But anyway, that's about it, you guys. I have been shared all my thoughts, I think, and everything I could. So I guess we'll wrap up from here. Sonic 3 video is also expected to come out next. So there is that, and I'll start planning out my 2025 videos from there. I'll probably also make a video for the Superman New Legacy trailer because, again, a lot of people are excited about it. As a comic book fan for movies and was one of the DC universe, I'm like, alright, I have to check this out as well. I recently watched Creature Commandos. I got into it. But I might make a separate video about that. Maybe once the theory drops up. But there's that. Anyways, just letting you know what's coming up on the channel. I guess we'll see you guys next time. The Eagle Reviewer / Reactor is out. Alright, take care, y'all. See you guys then.